And hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Frazier and Deeter's Business Beat. I'm John Ray, alongside Frazier and Deeter, managing partner in Alpharetta, Roger Lusby. Roger.
Good morning, John. How are you?
I'm great. How's tax season?
Well, right now it feels great. We're almost in springtime, 80 degrees this week, and we're not too busy just yet. But I'm sure we'll see it in the next 60 days.
The tsunami is coming, right?
It's coming.
Yeah. Well, you always handle it so elegantly, so thank you for that. Congratulations on that, but you brought a guest.
I did. I brought my tax partner, Matt Foster, with me. Matt's working with me now out of the Alpharetta office and has been with our firm for over 15 years now. Matt?
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show today.
Yeah, welcome. Glad to have you here, Matt. So 15 years of Frazier and Deeter. How's it been?
It's been good. It's taken me 15 years to get here, so but I haven't had any regrets yet.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on that anniversary and welcome.
Thank you.
To Business Beat. And we've got a great guest here to talk private equity and all sorts of other related subjects. Tuff Yen is with us, and he is with the Seraph Group. Tuff, welcome.
All right, good morning. Nice to be here. My name is Tuff Yen. I founded Seraph Group. We make venture capital investment. That's
great. Terrific. So your talk a little bit about your background and what's kind of been your journey and how you've gotten to this point, Tuff. And then we'll talk more about Seraph Group.
Okay. The bullet point is I went to University of California, Berkeley. It was a genetic engineering, caught the whole biotech rise, and then went to business school at Yale and ended up on Wall Street, worked for what is today's JP Morgan partner, started a venture capital with a scientific background. And I also was in the same years, plus and minus, of the dot-com 1.0 generation. So with the combination of IT and biotech and some investment, that's how I get to where I am today.
And then you've moved from California to a new resident now in Milton?
Yes. It was a side trip in life to come down to Georgia to help one of the company here to make some investment, and then I end up really falling in love with the Georgia landscape and the quality of life. So while I work in Silicon Valley, I live here. I moved to Milton about 6 months ago.
And we're glad to have you here.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I enjoy the horse country and the lovely cities and the people here.
Yeah. But, John, if I can regress just a minute.
Please.
Tuff's got a great story. If I remember correctly, you're from Taiwan, and you came here to the United States, and you were, 19 years of age?
Yes. I was in the second year in college, what is the equivalent to Harvard or Taiwan, the Taiwan University. And then in the summer, they would have a international Boy Scout program, and I happened to be a sort of equivalent of Eagle Scout in the Taiwan system. And I said, hey, this is a great trip. Great opportunity to come to visit America. So in '84, I got dropped into the Pennsylvania and the Pocono Mountains in a Boy Scout camp for a couple of months. And after that, my family decided, this is a great country and the opportunities here. And that's when I immigrated.
Yeah, it's such a cool story. It's another one of those American dream come true type stories. But
absolutely.
But we welcome you here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's terrific. Talk about, maybe the answers to this question are obvious, but you bring some heavy technical expertise to the table when it comes to investing. So talk about what that does for you and how that informs you as you do your work.
All of us experience, we're proud of sort of an environment, and I happen to graduate from Berkeley, and Berkeley, Stanford are the sort of tech center university. And if you immerse yourself in a tech environment, you watch and learn about how the whole, technology and the economy works, and then you realize that the world is accelerating faster and faster. So while my technical background is in biotech, which is really afforded me a lot of analytical skill to look at whole biotech investment, but most of my peers in the IT, and we're early owners of Apple computers, and so that whole generation is what we call the flow. Okay, if you're in the right flow, you get exposed to the opportunities. Mm-hmm. And that helps me to sort of immerse myself into the investment and then building companies, and you get a perspective over time. You build up this knowledge and network to help you make investment.
So what are some of the big picture trends in biotechnology? And maybe what I need to ask, first of all, about, is this your focus in Seraph Group, or do you have another particular focus? Well, let's get to that then.
Yeah. even though I started biotech, but I invested across the board from aerospace to internet to cybersecurity to transportation to telecom, pretty much across the whole spectrum. The only area that we don't invest in is consumer product like coffee or next drinks or that area. So typically we invest something that has a tech as a principal asset, whether it started a software or hardware innovation or proprietary chemical molecules and those things. So I do invest across the spectrum. The Seraph Group does invest really across the board. The reason why we do that because we think that every sector has innovation, and they rapidly come and they leave. And so if you're out there to capture, be a long-term investors, you need to start learning to capture all the knowledge and information and immerse yourself in that changes. And that's why Seraph Group was built for a long-term investment firm, not just for a crypto investment fund or IoT fund or AgTech fund. Those are all fine, but our choice is to be a long-term investment, so we adapt along the way.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So you, in those sectors, I guess let's talk about, you're talking about the bringing the innovation of whether it's IoT or AI or whatever the innovation is to those industries. What are some of the big picture trends that you're seeing that you're paying close attention to from an investment point of view?
Yeah, very early on, the speed of changes are accelerating faster and faster, and the technologies are almost impact every parts of society, even include service area. Okay, so the big picture trend is that you need to watch where technology is going and where the utility is. Okay, obviously everybody's talking about ChatGPT right now, and a few years ago was talking about different areas. So any of these trends they're very destructive. They break things. Okay, not everything will end up creating a good economic outcome, but they're breaking things. Okay, because they find some utility along the way. So I think the big trend is that you should just look at everything, examine everything, and look at your balance sheet, income statement, go down line by line to see what is being changed. Yeah, that each line, what's cost that line changes. Amazon was a living example how it completely changed the order of the business structure, how it impacted the traditional retail. So in the simplistic form, you just kind of look at your balance sheet, income statement, and watch the area that changes the impact. The technology coming in to change each one of them sooner or later. That's why I looked at it.
Wow, that's right up your alley, Roger, taking the financials and going right down the list and looking at innovations and how that's going to affect each line item. I love that. Don't you?
It is. And as Tuff says, there's some great opportunities and there's some great private companies that are around, not only right here in Georgia, but within the Southeast. And I think that's really leading Tuff to one of his business decisions is to maybe create a Milton Angel Fund. So why don't you speak to that, Tuff?
Right. One of the things I notice about is that different area, the exposure to this great wealth creation asset class. I've been doing it for 30 years myself, started my firm 20 years ago. So I look at investment as a must be as part of my growth and building wealth. And since I moved to Milton, I noticed that there aren't that many people here that are doing investments. So because of my history and track record in the national network I built up, I have about 400 investors from 135 cities. Many are leading CEOs. Some of them are entrepreneurs. Many well-known New York Times bestsellers, celebrities in terms of business celebrities in here that we have done this for many years. And I thought maybe the people like-minded here will be also interested in not only investing in technology nationwide, but hopefully, find a good company or two here in the Milton area that we can invest, because that's where the wealth creation is happening, and you like it or not, because I think that if you do it correctly, like we did, you find this whole investing very rewarding, but also very profitable.
So, what have you seen so far? I mean, you've been in Milton a while, casting about. What have you seen so far in terms of the investment environment here?
Well, from a startup standpoint, I have seen some. I'm still in the process of learning that. I think the opportunity is to, gather some of the people who are interested in investing in the Southeast or nationwide, doesn't matter. But by virtue of having an investment group here, will be attract smart entrepreneur to come here to start company, and also elevate our local entrepreneur to be able to get the right support. And it goes hand in hand. It's a chicken and egg thing, but you started with the capital sources, and people realize that there are very smart people living, investing here. An entrepreneur maybe come here to seeking capital to work with smart people, and then you just kind of self-fulfilling process.
Yeah, and then talk to us about some of the people that are working with you in this fund. Some of them are right here from this area. Mr. Fleming, for example, was down there at Georgia Tech, and
yeah. Well, I kept my investor list pretty private because some of them, are well-known people. But I think, I could name a few that are open for me to talk to, like the former CIO of Bell South. He's one of the top 100 CIOs in the country. Frank Dramus has been supported early on. We also have Stephen Fleming, who's a former head of the Georgia Tech ATDC. And among other, there are CEOs here in town. And also have, people from West Coast. A gentleman created QuickTime. We have CTO Snapchat. So a hodgepodge of a lot of other people. I think having that resources that I built out over the 18, 20 years bring to the table, of which when we started inviting Milton people to come and look at investment in Southeast, the access and knowledge and be able to find access to good deal flow. We're not a startup, we're already been around for 19 years. I think, if anybody like mine here at Milton looking at investing in meaningful business and being at a cutting edge and enjoy working with each other, this would be the place to be.
So for this angel fund that you're setting up, is it going to be a similar investment profile as your other fund where it's, any industry, any kind of business that just attracts you, or is it going to be, you're going to be more targeted in your investments?
Right. Now, the mission of Seraph Group is bring together successful people to create wealth. And so we look at ways that anywhere that we make investment generated 20 to 30% IRR and above as a target. Obviously private equity venture capital has been our main focus. Now, creating a group here in Georgia, where me, living here, due to close proximity, we certainly want to leverage the local flow. Okay, Georgia Tech, UGA, up here, Alpharetta, going to Technical County. The flow is the community. Okay, where the resources are, where the assets are, where we can create wealth. Now, very important, the difference, because venture capital is investing in one out of maybe 20 companies that are venture capital scale. Okay, a lifestyle business like you can create a good restaurant, make a really good cash flow, but Bones is not a venture capital investment. Okay, so we want to invest in something here that has scalability, which is the different that you need to find something 1 + 1 equal to 3, 3 + 3 equal to 9, and that's not very often. But technology probably fit that criteria. So we're looking for southeast of Georgia and Alpharetta or Milton. It really doesn't matter what you do. You can be a biotech company here. You can be a software company here. So really, there's not an industry focus, but more about growth focus.
It's looking for companies that are kind of hitting that ceiling and they need that capital to take it to the next level. Well,
see, the world of finance is also evolving very quickly. It used to be the angel money where, friends and family come in, someone want to start an idea, they have a napkin, they have my idea, they haven't even cooked anything or made anything. You give them a few $100,000 and start making something. Then there's this what we call the seed money or pre-seed money. Now you have made some prototype, you have cut some, hardware, you show it to your potential customer, you can get some kind of preliminary feedback, say, this didn't work, there's a market for that. And that's where the professional seed money come in, right? That's kind of where we pay, okay? Because then there's the venture capital after you get a $1 million revenue or $2 million revenue, that number changes, depends on the market and condition. Then you have the big venture capital fund comes in with $5, $10 million. But before that is what we call the capital gap in the United States. That raising the first $1 to $2 million is the hardest thing come by in the United States. Okay, that's a capital gap. That's where I pioneered. I started this thing in 2004, where no one in the country is focused on that one. But now there's dozens and dozens of firms that recognize as a seed money. That's kind of where we are.
Well, and as you say, there's still a shortage of this, even though you've got a lot of players that have come into that market, right? There's still a shortage of that capital at that level, right?
Yes, it depends on geographic. The culture, the local leadership, history has a lot to do with. If you live in a community where historically there hasn't been a lot of leadership in terms of putting entrepreneurship as your focus because it's risky, you have a lot of risk-taking attitude for that. But it is not that hard. It's just to get people educated, understanding this. If you do it a certain way, it's not that hard. To make the big money is not that easy. but completely lost your money, that means you haven't really learned how to do this thing. And that's one of the biggest mystery about people thinking about, venture capital, angel investing, you're going to lose a lot of money. And Wall Street keep telling me, don't go there, you should put money with us. Well, the Wall Street turn your money inside out through the commission, buying and selling, but we're not, right?
Right.
But if you do it in a basket way, it is now well known among the professional angel community. If you invest in 15 to 25 companies and you carefully choose them, do it a certain way, the chances of making money is significantly higher than you try to invest with your friend for 2 or 3 deals. And data's really proven that. And we're one of the pioneers that generated that data.
That makes perfect sense. Tuff Yen is with us, folks. He is with the Seraph Group. So, Tuff, putting, Roger and I are active with the Greater North Fulton Chamber. So putting our chamber hats on for a second, we've heard stories. We see companies that we know that have moved here from Silicon Valley. They've gotten funded, and in some cases they were mandated to move because by their investors, because once they got here, that runway of capital that they had would go a lot longer, right? Because the cost of doing business is so much lower, and so they had a much longer runway of capital in terms of that investment they just received. How active do you think that trend is going to be in terms of companies moving out of Silicon Valley and some of these high cost areas and moving to places like Georgia?
It's pretty prevalent, in the Bay Area, which I have a resident here, and then it's become increasingly difficult to build a company, and I see a lot of people moving to Southeast, moving to Texas, Midwest. Boise, Idaho is another hot area that people move to. And giving the COVID actually helped us, because now the whole world can say you can work remotely just as be productive. Right. And so it has become a permanent thing. It's our fund. The bias of investing in company only in Silicon Valley has gradually faded away. So the money will go chase with entrepreneurs. You could be a great inventor. You live in North Georgia or Cumming. As long as your product you build is, spectacular, money will come to you. And then 10 years ago, a lot of venture capitalists in Silicon Valley said, well, I'm never going to fly anywhere more than an hour. I'm just going to drive down 40 minutes. How pompous that was, right? But now they're chasing all over the country trying to put money in. Times change. So if you're an entrepreneur and you got the goods, America's still the most fabulous place to start business. So I look at whole North Georgia, given the infrastructure we have in Milton here. Oh my God, can anybody not look at this city and say how beautiful it is, how nice to live here? Mm-hmm. And you have no excuses not to start a company here, and when every support's here. Now, all we need to do is right now is get some of the community members, and the corporation here to realize that, hey, listen, to generate more, to make the city even better, you have to have some kind of economic, activity that are not just based completely on services, right? You have to have innovation that drive permanent wealth, that created a level of the wealth of which we can feed back to the community to make the city even better. Mm-hmm. And so I hope on the high-tech sector, we'll see more of that, It beats living in Decatur.
It does.
Yeah, for sure. So, Tuff, let's talk to those companies out there that approach you and they're looking for investment. I mean, what should they be thinking about? What are the kinds of companies you're looking for? And then just more broadly, what should a company that needs $1 to $2 million in capital, like what you're talking about, what should they look for in an investor?
Okay. Well, I would say what they look for investors is a complicated question. Depends on exactly what they're business for. But if they're just seeking the first round of capital from outside, besides friends and family, I always, I give lectures at Harvard Business School at, Yale and other area to talk about, how you approach investor. But really, you don't need to know me. Okay. Some people say, well, you need to know someone who know me. I mean, that's not it. But you need to have a very good pitch. And people spend time learning about the pitch. But for me, the fourth thing is, first, tell me what you do. Okay. I don't really care about your background, who you are, where you went to school, until you tell me what you're doing. Then if I find that very interesting, Then I said, what have you done? Second question. You tell me what you've done in 15 seconds. Those two added together is 50% what I want to continue the conversation with. Because first, I need to know what you're doing is very interesting. Second, what you've done, show me your productivity, right? Then the third thing I was in is, how much money you're looking for and why, right? Then you tell me what you're doing. Once I pass that, I say, okay, let's sit down. I'm interested. Okay, where are you from? Where'd you go to school? What's your resume? Because by the way you articulate what you want to do and what you've done, I already got a very good sense of how capable you are. And that sense comes from doing this for 30 years. And this is not something the most amateur investor or even a successful operating guy who just sold his company would immediately be able to acquire the skills. Because when you see large enough samples of people pitching you, you got a database to compare, right? Every business has been around for a long time. You see your client. You kind of know when a client coming in 20 years, a client coming in 20 minutes, you kind of know, I kind of know what this client's going to be like, right? I've seen thousands of entrepreneurs pitching me business, right? 2 guys eating ramen noodles, sleeping bunker beds, college graduate. Took $20,000 for the parents. Within 3 months, they crank up a website, started getting the traffic. 3 MBA from Harvard. I'll pick up Harvard because I went to Yale. 3 MBA in Harvard, raised $1 million. None of them code. Hire a firm in Romania coding. After spending $500,000, website went up. $20,000, $500,000. Did it in 3 months. Did it in 6 months. I know that.
Right.
You couldn't possibly know that. I see that, right? So that's the reference of which is important. So what I'm looking for is someone who knows what they're doing. Now, I may not like your idea. It's okay, right? Other people may like it. But if you're hitting the idea that I've been watching a market for, then it will click my mind. So I know I've been watching artificial intelligence, right? Professionals like are looking every detail, say where's this going? We're trying to figure out what the trends are, where the monies are, where the wealth is. We may not be always correct, but we know more than the average people. Mm-hmm. So when you tell me something within a minute or two, I can call it out if it's not real or you haven't done your homework, right? So that's how I looked at it.
Wow. So folks need to have their story straight, really, right? And have done their homework before they pick up the phone or send you a note or what have you.
Yes. For example, if an entrepreneur comes and says, listen, accounting is very expensive. I've created a new web-based accounting cloud, better than QuickBooks, more entrepreneur-friendly, using intelligence. You can do a self-service up to a certain point without hiring an accountant. That caught my ears. Mm-hmm. How is that done? Because I've been through that issue myself, right? And what have you done? Oh, within 6 months, we created a prototype. We now have 15 customers, pilots, startup using it right now. And they have the feedback. They always at 90% and very happy. Bang, those two things really caught my eyes. There you go. As an example.
There you go. I love that example.
So you're not looking for like market disruptor companies, or you're looking at either that or perfecting a product that's already out there.
I'm looking at the customer need first. All that market disrupting come later. If you don't have any customer who love your product, you haven't found your customer yet.
Yeah, or what problem are they trying to solve?
Yep.
Type of question.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So for me, historically, with my career, I've always tended to invest more in people than in ideas. And
well, I have something to shed on that one. I shed some light on that one. Okay, so one of the greatest venture capitalists, Mike Morris from Sequoia. I remember him at one of the conference, and whenever you have a conference, you have a bunch of venture capitalists on stage. And moderator asks a question. So, what do you guys look for when you invest in? 9 out of 10 say invest in people. Well, let me give you an example of that doesn't work. Okay, some of the biggest tech companies started by people that dropped out of college. Michael Dell, Bill Gates, founders of Yahoo. None of these people had a resume. They were sitting on campus cooking something out. And you look at the resume and said, there's no resume. Would I give this guy $1 million versus I give some HB vice president from HB, Hewlett Packard, or IBM that walked out, or Georgia Tech, it's a good resume. But these are the kids that break things, right? They created something, followed the trend. They have a good know. They smell it, and they're a huge successful company. Well, they did not expect it to be that big at the time. Okay, nobody knew these companies would be that big. When Google saw search engine, they were all students, right? So you don't have management reference for those people. So they are the outliers of what we call normal distribution curve. So as a VC, for me personally, all the people in the middle, we all chase them, okay? All the money's going into people, and they are the outlier. These are the graveyard. These are the dumb ideas started by, people in the, and then there's a few here that become huge successful. You got to keep your open mind on that. So make exception your rule. When I run to people with no resume, then I ask them, show me some evidence of what has happened. Okay. Come back every 2 weeks. Stop by. Has the web traffic increased? And more people using that? Follow the numbers. Even the entrepreneur who can't pitch very well, or not every great entrepreneur are great, slick salespeople. They can talk like that. When I first started, I was a bit stuttery. I was very nervous, but now I'm more fluent. But so if they can't really persuade you well, then I go for the numbers. Show me what you've done and examine the product and then make another assessment. This way you don't miss out on some of the, people who don't have reference for you.
Of course, in that example, the person that I might be investing in might be Mike Morris. In other words, if Mike Morris thinks that this is a good investment, then I'm in.
Yeah. You can follow the good investors, and that gets you the kind of filtering.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Tuff, as we wrap up, let's talk about, I'm sure there's folks listening to this show that might be, speaking of investing with good people, might be interested in investing in this proposed built-in fund you have. Talk about the status of the fund. Are you open for investment? What kind of investment are you looking for? That kind of thing.
Yes, yeah. We're about to launch the Seraph, Georgia, based out of Milton. That's a fun name, what we call. Mainly we're inviting people in the community who are accredited investors. You can contact me at tuff@seraphgroup.net if you're interested. The fund will be hoping to raise over a year and a half. We want to get more people, community to come together, because having the contact relationship here and brings a lot of value to the entrepreneur. So if anybody interested, feel free to reach out to me, and we're looking to maybe build a bit between $10 to $20 million fund, and I'll be in one of the investors, probably the larger one, and inviting out to like-minded people.
Terrific. Tuff Yen with the Seraph Group. Folks, Tuff, let's just reiterate those directions, how folks can find you, your contact information.
Yeah, my email is tuff@seraphgroup.net. Seraph is the angel word, seraphgroup.net. Or you can reach me at 415-568-7545.
Tuff Yen with the Seraph Group. Tuff, thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Yeah. Hey, folks, just a quick reminder that Business Beat is brought to you by the Alpharetta office of CPA firm Frazier and Deeter. This is a podcast that covers topics and issues facing small business owners and connecting them with solutions from leading experts. Frazier and Deeter is an accounting and advisory firm that offers a full suite of services, including tax, audit, advisory services, and fund administration. Speaking of venture funds. For more information, go to FrazierDeeter.com. Roger, another great show today. This has been fun.
Yeah, thank you, John. I'm excited that we had Tuff on board. I'm excited for what he's trying to do up here in Milton with the Angel Fund, and I'm excited that my partner, Matt Foster, was able to join us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in, Matt.
No, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and Tuff, all the best as you start your fund, and we're looking forward to tracking your success.
I'm looking forward to working with all of you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Roger. Thank you.
We'll see you next month, John.
Absolutely. So for my sidekick here, Roger Lusby, I'm John Ray. Join us next time here on Frazier and Deeter's Business Beat.